Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Or, well, more likely good morning or afternoon if you're in America, but I'm sure we've got a wonderful international suite. Regardless, I'm Leggy Starscream, here commentating this EizanTayama versus a Stone Dingley matchup. Joining me in the booth is Imperial Dragon. How you doing today?
Doing good. Looking forward to seeing this race. It's definitely looking like it will be a good one.
Indeed. Do you know which twin that is? Because I straight up can't tell them apart.
I want to say that's Palom, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, if it is a Palom, our runners are going to be super excited about that. Palom is a wonderful character to have, very powerful black mage. And if it's a Porum, that's pretty good too. Porum, having that mage early just solves a lot of our runners' issues. As for our objectives, we have the ever-popular Forge the Legend Sword. We have to unlock the Sealed Cave, defeat the bosses of the Baron Inn, and unlock the Sewer of the Baron Key. And by doing 3 of these 4 objectives, we will unlock the secret to victory.
This could be a very quick one or a very time-consuming one, depending on where the Baron Key ends up and the Luca Key.
Yeah, but the good news is, if they manage to find those keys, they don't actually have to do anything with them outside of run up to the doors and unlock them. So, like, if that sealed cave has a rude boss at the end of it, our runners don't even need to worry about thinking about it if they're already in go mode.
Yep. And sometimes the sealed cave can have some rude bosses.
Yeah. And just as a quick side note, both of these runners are currently at 3 and 2, I believe.
Yep, but of the two of them, a Stone Dingley is guaranteed to go on to the next round. Eizan needs to win this one to go.
Yeah. And there are some knockoff effects as well, in addition to Dingley just playing spoiler to Eisen's tournament life. If Dingley wins, then Slippery and McBain are guaranteed to advance. On the other hand, if Eisen wins, then Silverfire, unfortunately, will be eliminated from the tournament. Oh, if Eisen loses, he's not out, but will need help. Dingley is guaranteed because if he loses here, he'll be at 3 and 3, but his strength of schedule is strong enough that no matter how the other races play out, he will still be in the top 16.
Which is very good for Dingley, but Eisen, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he takes this race.
Yep. Regardless, it looks like our runners are off. That is in. Oh, that's just straight up a twin start. Okay. And did you see what that starting key item was?
Darkness Crystal.
Wow, that is huge.
That is a very interesting start.
Yeah, so the Darkness Crystal not only unlocks Moon Axis, but it also unlocks the Giant of Babel, which tends to be the preferred grinding location of our runners in this part of the Plague set. So, as chat's saying, yeah, our runners are going to be running around checking all the character locations they can to see if they can't find a Tella who basically carries a lot of, or at least the D-Machine grind that Darkness Crystal unlocks.
Yep. Though probably we can cover that more when somebody actually does the T-Machine grind, because that usually takes a while.
Indeed. Stone Dingley giving us a look at Baron first, finds everyone's favorite Karate Man Yang at the inn, which is a requirement spot. Looks like it's Keinazo on the front side, the fake king taking his fake captain of the guards out for a drink. So that's actually really nice, knowing that Keinazo is there at a spot that's not actually that threatening for the turtle.
And Watery Pass had Eddie.
Okay. Probably not gonna let the bard into the party, because we do have access to that darkness crystal already. Our runners are gonna be focusing on setting up their grind rather than trying to do low-level shenanigans with Edward. Down in Mysidia, we have a black mage and a white mage, just not the vanilla ones.
Rosa is definitely nice to see.
Rosa being the preferred of the dedicated white mages in the video game.
Well, not only is she good for White Mage, she's also a really good archer.
Yeah, and with all of the different bow and arrow combinations, you can definitely set up some deep shenanigans, allowing you to hit so many different kinds of weaknesses. Nothing really exciting down here in the Damsian basement. Eizan finds yet another Healy kid on Mount Ordeals.
And even more Porum.
Indeed. We're running out of early character checks so far. We'll see what the moon character is as Eizan flies up there right away, but since not every character is guaranteed to appear in every seed, it's entirely possible that we do not see Atella, which could make this very interesting.
Yeah. I honestly have yet to see a seed that I've commentated that didn't have Tella. I'd like this one to be one of them.
Indeed. Looked like that was a water hag taking a shower in the waterfall cave. And that's a moon edge.
Not terrible, but not really not nearly as great as he was in the previous flag set.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of his stealing is nerfed. He's still a really decent powerhouse this early. Coming in at a high level, having a nice AoE cast on him, but definitely not the have to have that he was a lot earlier. Yeah, looks like the moon is selling a couple of summon orbs, and chat pointing out that that was either a Kane or a Cecil. I can't tell from behind which one's which half the time. Until, you know, Cecil gets his extreme makeover.
Well, it looks like chat's saying it's Cecil.
Okay, so that's another interesting option, because on the one hand, Cecil can get ridiculously powerful, especially if you get that Excalibur or you find a crystal sword. On the other hand, having a Cecil kind of kills any sort of agility shenanigans you want to do.
Well, unless you can make them work with said Cecil.
Indeed. And it looks at this point our two runners are backtracking over each other's steps to check the other characters that they haven't yet, because, again, I imagine both of our runners thinking, oh, if I can just find a teller right now, I can start this grind off and get going.
Unfortunately, I think they're about out of character spots.
Yep.
Let's see what they decide now. Oh, and life potions over in Mysidia.
Always a nice pickup. And chat pointing out that there's Charm Claws for sale in Mysidia, which I think at this point our runners are pivoting away from that very early D-Machine grind, because you don't have the Tella there to cast Weak on the D-Machines to be able to cheese them. And people are now talking about the backup grind you can do in the Giant of Babel, the Mac Giant grind. Which, again, it might be a little early to start settling into what grind options you want to do, but given the way that this flag set has played out, having your grind on lock, knowing where you're going to get your levels to get yourself to Zeromus, is kind of a big deal. Though, it will be interesting to see what happens once our runners start checking key item locations, as it looks like Eizan is about to.
Getting our first peek at Antlion. And there was a cat claw. Really nice weapon for if they decide to go with a Yang.
Yeah. Finding those claws at this point is going to be really nice, because we have the Yang sitting there in the Baron Inn. We have the Edge, so our runners can be passing that equipment back and forth between the Ninja and the Monk.
Eizan's doing a quick bit of equipment swapping before heading in there.
So chat was asking why cat claws are good. Cat claws are good because, number one, they have the highest accuracy of all claws, they can punch enemies to sleep, and they give a little bit of stat boosts.
And that is Alt Gauntlet.
Oh, that's always fun. Maybe they should have faded Antlion.
But with the party makeup, Alt Gauntlet in that spot's not going to be bad, it's just time consuming.
Yeah, it's 5 different fights you have to get through. But luckily with the Edge, and once your Quack Kid gets up to AoE spells, you'll be able to take out all of those random bits of trash early. Looks like Dingley's going for Dancing Dagger strats from the Black Mage. Oh, and as I say that, Eizan throws a dagger as well.
Yeah, I do not see either runner having any issue with this at all.
Yeah, this party makes these random encounters look like a joke. These are just enemies pulled from this area, things you would find while running around. And with this particular party, given that, yeah, you typically have Rosa at this point, but the other two characters are from a little bit later, this should be a cakewalk.
Well, in Edge's case, a lot later.
Yep. And well, that's not the key we're looking for.
Nope. And it's also not underground access.
Actually, of the 4 keys in this game, that's the last one our runners want to see here.
It's neither required nor immediately useful.
I mean, same.
Is this Eisen's first peek at Hobbs?
I think so. And it looks like he wants the Dark Knight, at least to have in his back pocket. Probably taking out that Bahamut for just a little extra bit of experience.
Yeah, especially since they don't know if it's going to be a hook required or not.
Yeah.
Since nobody's seen either way underground.
Yeah, plus, a level 1 Cecil does make for a reasonable anchor, if necessary.
And Leviathan is attacking Fabul.
Yeah, just getting a little ahead of himself. Hopping up onto the land rather than just wrecking the boat later. Eisen pulls an elven bow in the chest a little bit down Mount Hobbs from the fight.
Oh, with Rosa, that's really nice.
And, well, how do you feel about music?
I wouldn't mind hearing it.
Yeah, I imagine our runners are going to put off doing music until they do the required Baron in, but, you know, I'm always down. I know chat's always down.
Well, there's some mute bells and star veils.
Both of which are really nice. Star Veils allow you to get a wall spell up, which can be used to cheese a number of bosses, including Bahamut if he was in a bad spot. Mute Bells can be used to stop enemies from casting. Notable uses include if you want to grind on Warlocks, or if you run into the Baron Guards.
I will say, so far, there hasn't really been anything interestingly challenging.
Yeah, granted, we're still doing our early checks. So, I imagine the difficulty is going to ramp up rather soon. Though it is a little disappointing that some of the potentially rude bosses are already out of the way.
Yeah, because I love seeing the turtle at the hook.
Right.
It's always exciting.
I mean, it could be. I mean, the hook could be Canadian today.
Oh, it looks like they're both going for the Baronin.
Yeah, makes sense. One of the big rules of free enterprise is do what's required.
Especially since you never know when that could be exactly where the way underground is.
Indeed. Neither runner having any trouble with the turtle here.
Oh, and the note bro.
Now what's that about, eh?
It can be a very challenging boss in some spots. I don't know that it's nearly as bad in this one.
Yeah, I imagine that edge is going to make fairly short work of this Canadian sea serpent. And with the Rosa on deck for healing, and Palom able to augment with a little bit of magic as needed, this should be over very, very soon. Oof. That was a strong punch on Dingley's Rosa, though.
It's not as easy as I thought at first.
Yeah, this spot is fairly tricky. It's got a lot of HP that normally Invidilla you'd skip by having Yang do the OW! But Dingley is our first runner. Oh, both of them are through basically at the same time. Heck.
No hook needed.
Yeah, that's our magma key. At the required goal of the Baron Inn.
Well, I guess this is definitely one of those seats that says do your needed objectives first.
Indeed. So now it's just a question for runners of where that next key to doing an objective is.
Yeah, and it does look like Eizan did take the Yang.
I don't hate it, especially because, you know, we've already been talking about setting up our grind for the Mac Giants. Yang can do a fair bit there. Plus, if you aren't... The nice thing about Yang is that most of his strength comes from just sheer overwhelming levels. You grind that boy up and he will do work.
Yes, he will. I've seen some runners that had him doing some massive damage.
Oh yeah, and not to mention just the massive hit point pool he'll get as well. But now that we're underground, our world is a bit more of our oyster. Dingley flying straight down to Tamra, probably gonna loot. We'll see if we get everyone's favorite job dwarf check. As Eizan decides instead to head straight down into the Fey March.
Our job dwarf today is a watch repairer.
Also finding a middle sword and a boomerang in that Tamra warehouse, which are both upgrades for Edge over his short swords.
Definitely a nice find.
Indeed.
And Eizan is going to check out the Fey March.
Yep, and Dingley is following along very close behind.
Oh, that's nice. You're a
Wow, I don't understand. I thought if you found an edge in a seed, you weren't supposed to find any ninja swords.
Apparently, this one did not hear that rule.
Allie, I have questions.
Ali apparently is being very generous today.
According to chat, she says she likes nice things and rude bosses. But yes, no, the equipment is generated completely independently of what characters appear to seed. Any comments about ninja swords is just me memeing.
Just like if you find a crystal sword, there is no Cecil in the seed.
Yep. I always forget, is blue Baigen or is red Baigen?
I actually can't remember off my head.
The other one is definitely the Magus Sisters. At the Ashura spot. Chat's pointing out that red is Baigen, so that's either the Baron or the Kaipo guards.
That'll be... Well, no, considering the spot, that's not necessarily going to be easy, especially without having access to power turns, easy hourglasses, and coffins, and that type of thing.
Yeah, if you can find one or a couple of those, it becomes a little bit nicer, but Eizan giving us the check to show us that it is in fact those Baron guards.
And those Baron guards can be a little bit mean in that spot. Especially at these levels.
Definitely. If you can get them with that mute spell, they become doable, but they're still extremely punchy, especially in that spot. The safer way is definitely just getting that hourglass off, if you can find one. Dingley, having done the first Sylph conversation, is popping up to talk to Sheila, and gets a pass for his trouble.
Not bad to have, but not progression.
Yeah, not progression, both in the sense of it doesn't unlock anything, but also it's technically not a key item because of the way that the game is set up. So it's not even our fifth key item for Dingley. That said, it does make life a lot easier if we have to go up to the moon to find one of the last key items that we need.
Very true. I like having that shortcut sometimes.
Indeed. One of the things I've been seeing a lot of runners do recently is opening various boxes down here in the Tower of Babel. Looks like Dingley isn't going for it, but if you find the monsters in boxes, the gear you can get there is actually quite incredible.
Well, it can be quite incredible, or I've seen it also be quite incredibly disappointing.
I mean, there's always the possibility for disappointment. And that's the randomizer way.
Yep.
Looks like Dingley is finding Baigen in the Super Cannon spot, while Eizan is giving us a look at the Dwarf Castle shops. Cure 3's for sale down here.
Oh, that's very nice. I mean, yes, there is a white mage, but sometimes Cure 3s can be just as useful.
Yeah, at the very least, they offer that nice little stopgap measure in case Rosa gets hit with something nasty. You know, I really appreciate Dingley doing the half tower play here.
Admittedly, it sort of seems a little odd when you've got the key to do the half play. Or wait, no, sorry. It seems a little odd to not do the boss, but it could be just different people do it differently.
Yeah, and given that Dingley is still only on 3 characters, it could just be a I don't feel confident in this party's ability to take out that boss at the top of the tower.
And sometimes the boss at the top can be a bit mean. So it definitely does save time if there's something really nasty up there.
Yeah, sadly, the tower key is yet another dead end, giving us a protect ring, which is nice, but it is not progression. Dingley instead choosing to go for music.
Yay for the music.
And on the other side, it looks like Eizan is going up the Mountain of Ordeals. So, for better or worse, we'll be getting a little quiet here in a little bit as soon as that first fight with the Dark Elf is over, because there's been a lot of work to make a lot of really, really pretty music.
And while Dingley was giving us the music, it looks like Eisen had no trouble with getting through Evil Wall and Elements over on Ordeals.
Yeah. Sadly, music today was a key item, just not the one we're looking for. Neither is this mountain, giving us the Sand Ruby and the Spoon, anti-respectively. King Queen Eblin here at the Dark Knight Cecil spot, the freest of the free. This fight should be over very shortly.
That is a very disappointing spot to find those.
Right? The Sand Ruby is interesting because it is another character check for Eisen, so that's yet another chance to find that Tella that I'm sure our runners are still hoping for. The Spoon for Dingley is just a one-time quad 9 from Edge.
Hey, sometimes that comes in handy on an annoying boss.
Oh, I'm not saying it is, but definitely something you love to see. Just again, not the progression you necessarily want. Oh, hey, more guards. But yeah, on Mount Ordeals, we saw Evil Wall, we saw the Elements, and we saw the King and Queen of Eblin. So all three of those bosses are now out of the pool.
There are a lot of the harder bosses already gone.
Yeah. Eisen is picking up a Cecil.
That is an interesting choice.
And at this point, because we have Permajoin on, that means Eisen is officially locked into his final party.
While Dingley still has not locked in 2 party spots.
Indeed. Going for that flexibility, the only difference in the parties right now is that Eisen has taken that Yang and that Cecil, where Dingley has the same other 3 party members. But at the second spot of Dwarf, after we say goodbye to Porum, we find Dr. Lugay. Dr. Lugay and the Balnabs would be a great band name.
Interesting band name.
I mean, you're kind of locked into doing FF4 covers, but, like, tell me I'm wrong. Like,
You're not wrong.
big band FF4 would be really, really sweet to listen to. Yeah, it looks like Dingley is making fairly short work of Dr. Lugay's first form and second form, so we'll see what that Dwarf Castle item is shortly. Eizan has started going up the tower, found his Baigen.
And I believe I just saw Palom learn Quake.
Oh, that's exciting. Does seem to be keeping Cecil off the ground, so might not be too worried about agility shenanigans at the moment.
If I remember right, one of the really good spots for Cecil is level 45, so Eizan does have a little bit of room before having to really worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Dingley gets a black t-shirt from the Dwarf Castle. Again, another decent piece of equipment for Palom, but not the progression. I'm starting to get worried about where this progression might be, because it's either at the top of tower at this point, or Feymarch, I think are the early spots left that we haven't checked between the runners.
I think you're right, actually. Unless there's something weird like Threemus sitting in the Magus Sister spot.
Which would be incredible. I would be so happy if that were the case.
Oh yeah, true, there is also Moon. Nobody's been up there other than for the character slot, so it was kinda easy to forget.
Oh, right. Yeah, I just forget the moon exists. I look outside and I get startled every time I see it glowing in the sky at night. But Eizan does find the Octomammoth at the top of the tower. An interesting boss. Starts off super fast, but every time you hit it a few times, it starts slowing down and rapidly becomes manageable if you can survive the first couple of rounds.
You know, now that I think about it, there's been a fair number of Porums this seed.
Yeah. Porum party! Someone called Emerine. But yeah, Threemus could be at one of the awkward spots on the giant, as Chad is pointing out. Because at this point, outside of, stuff that's locked behind a single key item, we've got basically the entire world and moon open to us.
Dingley's working the way up ordeals.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we already know that this is just the Sand Ruby. Granted, neither runner has checked who that character is, so it might be, holy heck, it's the Sand Ruby, that's awesome. We'll have to find out.
If somebody decides to go check it.
Indeed.
Though Eizan has no reason to with a full party.
Yeah, at this point, Eizan is committed to his play. Gets a bunch of levels there from that massive amount of experience up here on the tower. And we'll see what he gets. That's a hook. Huh. That's 2 more bosses and another character check.
Well, for Eizan, it's just 2 more bosses because character checks are completely useless.
I mean, they're an opportunity to see what could have been.
To go, oh, I should have waited.
Yep. It's also a few more gated shops, which could also be relevant if there's decent equipment for sale in Cave Emblem. Dingley makes short work of the mountain, has his sand ruby in his pocket.
Chat is brutal today.
Indeed. Granted, who knows? This seed could just be that rude.
I mean, though, having Demus at Magus Sisters holding Earth Crystal, which is holding the Luca key, which has the Baron key, that is just a level of insanity I'd love to see.
Right? You know, there's all these 1 in a million edge cases that are logically possible within the randomizer that it's always so beautiful when they show up.
And it looks like Dingley is going to be checking out Kaipo.
Yeah, Sand Ruby in the pocket, still at 3 of the 5 characters. I like this check. It's just a monk, so not as exciting as Dingley was hoping for, but hey, at least we have the information now.
Always good to have that information. Demist is still unfound.
Yeah, Dingley going to give us a look at our Troya shops. Finds tents in the first one, and full inventory.
One of the bosses of this randomizer is the inventory boss.
Arguably the most terrifying boss, in my opinion. Thor rages are nice.
Looks like somebody's checking out the Feymark.
Yeah, someone really wants to take out those Baron guards. Huh. Dingley picks up a Rydia and one of our many Porums, and now is locked into a full party.
Interesting. That is a very nice caster party.
Yeah, landing outside of Baron, equipping charm gear on everyone. Does it smell like a grind to you? Because it definitely is starting to smell like grinding to me.
Yeah, I think I agree there, especially with that reset. I will admit, the Mac Giant grind is one that I have not actually done myself.
Yeah, I've never set it up either, but as far as I can tell, what the play is you just get all of your anti-giant gear on lock, and that's an Avenger for Eizan. That's actually really nice with that Cecil.
Indeed.
Also, just a fair chunk of experience from doing that Feymarch boss.
I do not recall seeing a cursed ring yet. To answer one of the chat questions.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing anyone in chat contradicting you, so...
Agus sisters are tearing up the party.
Yeah. Edge there does have a mute knife, which is going to do the quad damage to the Magus sisters. Still hitting for 4 to 5k, which is really nice. But these Magus sisters are not playing around.
And every single reflected spell is capable of one-shotting anybody in the party.
Indeed. Dingley taking his time, getting his blinks up on the party to avoid the punches from the Mac Giants. Taking out the two characters who are going to be slingshot. Taking also a brief moment to get a few bluffs up on Palom, so that those spells coming out from the Quack Kid do a fair bit more damage. This is just a really nice setup. And on Eizen's side, everyone's favorite middle sister is down. So we aren't getting a Magus Sisters grind here, unfortunately.
Honestly, with how hard they were hitting, I wouldn't want to try that.
Fair. Like, you're not wrong. Yeah, I've got nothing else. You're not wrong there. those Magus Sisters are brutal. Down to only Sandy left. If this happens to be progression for Eizan, this could be huge, but we'll see what it is very shortly.
Oh, the Baron Key.
And if that Baron Key is hiding things, and Dingley decides to go to the moon, this could be huge.
This could be a race changer.
Yeah. Now, granted, the Baron Key could just be a bust in terms of having further progression, and Dingley might be able to find the rest of his pieces of Go mode elsewhere. But given that the only objectives left require 1 and 2 key items respectively, odds aren't bad that there could be a key item down here in Baron. Now, whether or not that key item or key items are one of the required ones is, just up to the randomizer gods. But Eizan was definitely heavily rewarded for doing that Magus Sisters fight. Does the objective and turns around, which is interesting.
Curious to see where he's going to go with this.
Yeah. Looks like he's flying over to the big whale, so I think he's just gonna go grind. But, oh, he's going to the moon.
This is interesting.
Yeah. Especially with the way that the randomizer works under the hood, according to the officially published algorithm information, Earth key item spots are actually more likely, on average, to have key items as opposed to summon or moon spots, just as a way of making sure that the blue planet always feels like it has things. But on the other hand, the lunar subterrane does have some incredible key item density. Plus, these bosses are worth a metric ton of experience.
And there are some bosses still that wouldn't be terrible to take out.
Yeah, Eizan has the Paladin Cecil, which would mean that if we find a karate fight, that would be free. We've seen Water Hag. Oh, speaking of.
Though going into that one unhealed is a bit problematic.
Indeed, which is why you see that fast reset into a cabin. But I imagine Eizan is going straight back there. Yeah, and I kind of really like this from Eizan foregoing kind of a dedicated grind at the moment. and instead focusing on grinding on the boss fights that he sees as he goes.
It's not a bad play if you get good luck with what the bosses are.
Yeah. And at this point, he's in his high 20s. There might be a character in the low 30s. And with the just quality of characters that he has, this is actually a really nice strategy that we'll see how well it works out. But I'm just really happy about it. Nice timing on the swing. Now, sadly, the Palom is not getting those levels, but we'll see what we get. And it's the Legend Sword. Holy heck. Eizan is just cleaning up.
That is a very interesting find.
Yeah, Eizan is now any one of either of two different key items away from go mode, and if he finds that adamant, that Cecil is just in an amazing location.
And Dingley is still working away on the Mac Giant.
Yeah, it's a bit lengthier of a grind than you kind of want some days, but it does get the job done. We will very shortly, I imagine, see him tap out and start lawn-mowing through some of the fights that took Eizan a little bit of time, which is kind of like the cost-benefit analysis you're doing when you want to sit down and grind. Like, on the one hand, grinding takes time. You're just sitting there, you're not making checks, you're just getting the power that you want to then leverage into clearing a bunch of other spots quickly and effectively.
And chat is totally giving interesting suggestions for the randomizer. We'll see where things end up.
Indeed. Eizan going straight down to the bottom, skipping the Wyvern Altar for now, which does make sense. There's 4 different key item checks down at the very bottom of the moon.
Off to the ribbon room.
Indeed. Let's see what boss is here, and it's Valvalis. So this is not our logical way underground. Not that that matters at this point. And it's on the moon, so it can't be the logical progression underground either. But without the cane, at the very least, you don't have to worry about Valvalis changing forms, but her evasion is going to be a problem as we see our physical fighters doing way less damage than we really want them to. I don't know what Val's MDef here looks like, but given that Paola's virus just totally whiffed, yeah, this mage party from Dingley will have a bear of a time at this point.
Ooh, about it till he said that. That is not a boss you want to see on a mage party.
Yeah. That said, I don't know fully how the algorithms work, so I don't know whether or not you can overcome Valvalis's magic dodge with just sheer levels. But chat's saying you cannot overcome a 255, you can overcome a 254.
Well, in Dingley's place, if he needs to do this fight, there's always using Rosa as an archer.
Indeed. The aim command will not miss. Plus, you know, you'll be able to berserk up edge and still get in for a certain amount of damage that way. As it looks like Dingley is now bringing up the rest of the party, so I imagine he's done with the grind. But yeah, looks like Eizan's strategy here is just slowly chipping away with that berserked edge. And I imagine Dingley's is going to be fairly similar. Alright, that's not nuke for Palom. Let's see where Rydia gets to.
That is
There's the nuke.
Lydia.
And I imagine that Porum is gonna get up to white. Yeah, with that slingshotted XP, that was over 1.2 million for the slingshotted characters. And so we know where two pieces of progression that Dingley has yet to find are. We know that the Magus Sisters down in the Ashura spot have our Baron key. We know that, gosh, who was it at the Murasame altar? I'm blanking.
Karate.
Yeah, the karate, which is actually going to be a little bit harder for Dingley without that Cecil. And by a little bit, I mean potentially a lot.
But Dingley does have more levels.
Yeah, Dingley does have a fair bit of what is commonly referred to as power overwhelming. Coming back underground first. Looks like Dingley's headed down into the Fame Arch. Going to be rewarded for this play, which is nice.
How long this ribbon fight's taking? If I were Eizan, I would be getting a little nervous.
Yeah. Granted, Eizan might be banking on Dingley having a similarly tough time with this fight, but hard to say. If you haven't seen a cane yet, you have to know that Valvalis is just going to be a slog to get through no matter what.
But he's through.
Yeah, getting the level 3 elementals on Palom. Finding a rat tail and a package. 2 key items. 1 rabbit hole to run down.
From the way that looks, I'm guessing he's gonna be going for some of the other bosses first.
Yeah, definitely gonna drop a save here. We'll see what he does with that. Oof, Dingley getting punched by those Baron guards. Tried to just go in without using any of the cheese and got a little bit punished for it. Diving back down, probably gonna take the strength of those punches a bit more seriously this time.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's going to be awful no matter what you're running.
Now that, not so much.
Yeah. I'd argue that counts as French vanilla, given that they're right next door.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
The Lunar Dragons have a couple of interesting strategies you can use on them. They're undead, so they're weak to curative magic, they're weak to fire. They also have a breath attack that they shockingly aren't immune to. So you can reflect their breath back on them and get everyone's favorite lunar frogs.
If you can successfully do that, that makes them an absolute cakewalk.
Indeed. But yeah, this fight is one of those where if you know what you're doing, it's a lot less terrifying than it looks at first blush. And look at that, nearly 6k out of Dingley's Edge on these Magus Sisters. Doing almost double what Eizan was doing after that grind. Yeah, the Magus Sisters are going to go down very shortly. Dingley going to get his Baron Key. We'll see if he decides to go do Baron Castle or not. We did not see Eizan do it, so we have no idea what's there.
Could be one of the key items that they're looking for.
Heck, I don't even remember who's at the Beigen spot. That's the glass bucket.
Totally not what you want to see after that fight.
Yeah. That fight took a little bit of time and effort too, which is the real unfortunate part here. Yeah, and as Chad is mentioning, Eizan is deciding to just fade the Wyvern Altar, the Crystal Sword spot. Also Bahamut. And
I don't blame him on the Wyvern spot, but Bahamut is actually is really quick to get to.
yeah, I don't blame him for coming down here and wanting to check that rat tail out right away.
Yeah, because considering the situation, it just takes one key item.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh no, Dingley. Now, Eizan is definitely going to need to take a little bit of time to get fully ready for Z. Whether that's go around and shop for what he wants for low-level strats or do his own grind. But that's the Forge. That's going to mean that Cecil's going to get his second best weapon in the game. But Dingley is not out of this race yet. The Luca key is still at large, and if he gets lucky and finds it down here in Baron, this race becomes incredibly close.
This is definitely going to be an interesting race.
Indeed. And Eizan is over that 10 key item threshold at this point, so any grind he does will take half as long. Once you hit 10 key items in Free Enterprise, you do start getting double experience points.
Looking at Eizan's levels, he's not really that low, actually.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see what he chooses to do, how comfortable he feels going in to Zeromus. And on the other side, we have Dingley making very short work of Mylon Z down on the Baron Basement Throne. Dragoon armor. Oh. Now, I imagine Dingley is still going to check the regular Baron Throne spot, which is going to take a little bit of time, but it is going to get him a bit closer.
Looks like the Dolls and Baron.
Yep. Looks like Eizan's setting up for a Behemoth grind. Or is just going to go take out the Demist at Bahamut.
Behemoths it is.
Definitely going for cover strats there with that Cecil. And using Rosa to get Blinks up. Dingley, come on. I just need you to pull a Luka key out of that trash. Oh. Oh. Well, it's a stat stick for Rydia.
The way that looks, yeah. Eizan made the right choice on Baron.
Yeah. Which, you know, that's how randomizers work sometimes, you know. We up here in the booth might be like, ah, yes, no, this is obviously the correct play, but it may or may not pan out based off of how the randomizer decided to randomize things today. Taking these calculated gambles is how you win or lose in this sort of event. Yeah, Dingley going for that Demist here at Bahamut, which is 2 key item checks, which is nice. Demist is kind of annoying with the way that she attacks 3 times and then turns into mist for like way too long. And then lather rinses and repeats. But between getting the blinks up and Rydia throwing out the nukes, hopefully this doesn't take too many cycles.
Well, Demist isn't going badly.
Yeah. The punches are hard. The punches are hitting hard, but not like painfully hard with all of Dingley's levels in gear. Did a fair bit of damage before we started seeing the mistiness.
But of course, now you're at the part where levels can't really help you fix the weight.
Yeah. Hopefully for Dingley, this is the only turn into mist he sees. And one more nuke finishes the deal.
Ouch.
That... Oof. I think Dingley here has to drop a save on the moon and go down and check Rydia's mom, like, right away.
Yeah. Because if Rydia's mom is not one of very specific key items, it's not even worth going back for it.
Yeah. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Defense sword! Oh no! At this point, it has to... Lukaki has to be behind what? Either the Golbez at Ogopogo or whatever's at Wyvern?
Unless... it's gotta be behind something like that. There still is, of course, the Earth Crystal somewhere.
Right. Yeah, it could be like a ridiculous chain. But I think at this point it has to start at one of those two spots.
Earth Crystal or Pan?
And on the other side of the screen, we see Eizan using the pass, going through the back door down here in Troya, up to the final boss of the game, Threemus. Yeah, chat's doing that thing that Twitch chat does and spamming something. Do you know what that's about?
That would be our Z flags. We can't randomize where we put Threemus in this. It'd be too hard. So instead, we randomize him.
Yep. Scala Kitty and Boardface have done an incredible job creating over 450 different sprites to give everyone's favorite final boss a makeover. So I believe there's one question on everyone's mind at this point.
Whose butt are we gonna kick today? And Dingley is now at Valvalis.
Yep.
I'm actually kind of curious to see how he takes that one.
Yeah, especially after that first nuke whiffs. I have no idea what this boss is from.
Well, Scala Kitty's in chat to tell us.
Chat seems to be implying Tales of Eternia?
You know, I have actually yet to play a single Tales game, so...
The only one I've played is Symphonia. Yeah, and while we're discoursing about final boss appearances, Dingley unfortunately takes a wipe to that Valvalis, as Eizan gets confirmed that that first Big Bang from Threemus was in fact nerfed.
But with those levels, those D-Lunars should be no issue.
Indeed. And it looks like Eizan has a pretty good lock on this Z fight. If he can continuously nerf the big bangs that are coming out, this shouldn't be that much of a worry. But Dingley takes out the D-Lunars, is rewarded with his glass bucket, and a reset.
Can't blame him on the reset. Though I believe he is about to go find everybody's favorite ha ha ha.
Yeah, Eizan takes a huge big bang there. Most of the party is either down or critically low. The black hole comes out, which is nice because it allows Eizan a moment to try and pick the party back up. And yeah, Dingley instantly resets out of that Golbez. Does go for Piggy Strats. Which I'm into.
And Eizan wiped.
Yeah. Which... This is definitely a risky setup for going into this Z fight. Eizan is a bit underleveled to where most runners would consider the fight to be safe. But again, we're at a point of this tournament where every single competitor is terrifyingly just terrifying at this video game. You need every edge you can get. So go to the moon. But yeah, at this point, with Eizan's current setup, this Z fight is by no means going to be easy. But if he can pull it off while Dingley is still playing around on the moon and trying to find his go mode, he can still take this race. He probably... Heck, depending on how long it takes Dingley to find go mode, he could still take another couple wipes yet until everything falls together nicely.
Now, for his sake, I'm gonna guess he's hoping there's not another couple of wipes.
You never want to wipe. But I think he does have a little bit of a buffer depending on where that loop key is located.
Well, so far, so good.
Yeah, and it looks like Dingley has lock on the Golbez fight. It's slow, but it is going.
It's gone. Now let's see if the other option for go mode's behind him.
Indeed. That's crystal armor.
That's not go mode.
Oof.
Eizan is still... I won't say comfortable because that's not necessarily a comfortable Z fight.
Yeah. Did get that nerf on the Big Bang, which is nice. Dingley is going back and giving the Valvalis another attempt.
But we know that that's not where Lukaki is.
Yep. At this point, given what we've seen, we know that the Lukaki is at... The path to the Lukaki starts at the Wyvern Altar.
Whether it's directly there or it's through a set of fetch quests. Yeah.
Yeah. But step one is, granted, Dingley could just clear this Valvalis and decide to do the Murasame altar and just forge like Eizan did.
That was an unnerfed Big Bang.
Oof. Luckily, Rosa manages to stay on her feet, so this party will be able to recover. It also looks like only 2 of the boys got berserked, so someone was able to throw a Cure 3 onto her.
With the way it looks like he's using power on Yang to, which is giving the extra chance at using items.
There's a direct nuke straight onto Rosa. Ooh, that is spicy.
That is not something you want to see.
Yeah, luckily Rosa is there with the Cure 4 to pick everyone back up, including herself. Holy heck.
Valvalis fight's going about as rough as can be expected.
Yeah, it's a slog. When you don't have things like a cane. Oh, those are rocks. We've got rocks.
Fallen rock.
Rocks fall. Hopefully Zerobus dies.
Shouldn't be too long.
Indeed. Just a couple of swings. There's the flash. And with that, Eizan is through. As Dingley finishes up the Valvalis fight rewarded with that rat tail and that package. But Eizan is finished with a time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 50 seconds. And we'll see if we can't get him into an interview shortly. Hello, hello.
Eizan, are you there?
Oh my god.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes! Hi!
Yeah.
Hello! Congratulations!
Thank you.
So, how'd you feel about that seed? Like, starting off with the darkness, what was going through your head?
I was kind of hoping for a tele, but he never showed up. So.
Yeah, both you and Dingley did, like, a mad dash across the overworld. Oh my god. Sorry, I just have to interject. I'm assuming you watched your spoiler log and saw where the Luca key was.
No, I kind of reset to go to see what the harp song was.
So it is exactly at the Wyvern altar, protected by the most fearsome boss of all, the Water Hag.
Here I was going to reset if Rat Tail didn't turn into anything too.
Yeah. So obviously Tella didn't show up, but you did have the Darkness Crystal, so was your plan always just to go around and kind of pick up experience as you go? Or were you thinking about doing like a Mac Giant grind or something?
I kept it open, but I never saw Sid or Kane. So I was like, well, I'm not familiar to doing it without either one of them and just one Palom. And kind of seeing Edge, I knew I could get experience pretty easy on the overworld, and I just kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Tesla was able to cover good enough, I went to the moon and get experience that way. So.
Yeah, I imagine that picking up the Cecil was just like you definitely did that as a cover strat technique, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Unless I found a crystal sword, but that didn't show up either.
You got the X-Cal.
Well, after everything was completed, but that did make the difference in doing my Threemus fight at the levels I was at. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at this point, you are, well, I believe you already were confirmed to make it into the top 16, but now you're even more fully locked in there. How are you feeling about moving on to the next stage of the tournament?
Just keep making gambles, and hopefully one of these times I don't keep getting high rolls on my first Romus fight.
Yeah.
Quick correction from chat. Eizan was not guaranteed in before. He is now. It was Dingley that was guaranteed.
I got my wires crossed. So, specifically, congratulations, you've made it all the way in. For sure. by winning this race, which has to be exciting.
Yeah, pressure was there the entire race. So
But you played it very well.
Yeah.
all right, well I gotta go. My daughter's about to get home from school. So
Gosh. Well, uh, once again, good luck going forward, and thank you again for such a fantastic race.
thank you.
And as we look back over to Stone Dingley, he's about to start his Zeromus fight after unlocking the door underground.
This one should be a little bit more comfortable, but still, health pools on a couple people.
Yeah, I imagine this is going to be full reflect strats with these 4 different mages.
There's no reason to go any other way.
Now, with 4 mages and an edge, you obviously want to go for the Quint Berserk. Quint, 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 Quint.
I think you're gonna be very disappointed.
I'm used to this level of disappointment. Nice. Getting the counter nuke reflected back is always a nice start off. But yeah, bouncing stuff off the reflect, going to very, very rapidly get through this Nereid's HP pool. And because we're reflecting the spells, if you time it right, you will be able to skip the HP refill that Zeromus normally does once you get through a particular threshold.
So it looks like the Palom did not quite make it to nuke ever.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Still, 3 characters with their highest level damage spell unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're waiting on this, there is still a few more races tonight.
Oh, yes.
At 9 o'clock tonight, there will be 2 different races. Actual JP versus Zilch, and Possumorphis versus Zyrak. The first is going to be on the Free Enterprise channel, and the second one will be on RPG Limit Break.
Yeah, and as we get into these last stages of the table round here, you definitely don't want to miss any of those. Every single one of these races is going to be extremely hype.
And I do believe that's a Stone Dingley entering the channel. Hello there! How does it feel?
Hey, well, I finished.
Yay!
Always happy about that.
From my understanding, you were already guaranteed to be in, but your opponent just got their own guarantee to get in.
And GG to EizanTayama. Yeah, I guess I just didn't. I think I do better under pressure. I think knowing that I didn't have to made me feel more like I could take checks, like go check music and stuff, which just, didn't work out this time. But that being said, I probably would have done the same thing anyway if this was my qualifying race, because I'd be just want to take those gambles.
Yeah. One of the big differences between how these races went was you definitely took the time to sit down and do your Mac Giant, get all the levels on all your characters, whereas your opponent went around and just leveled off boss fights the entire time. No real dedicated grind.
Other than a few behemoths in Bahamut Cave.
Yeah, I noticed that we had very different party compositions. I'm not sure that would have worked as well for me going mostly mage, but it seemed like a pretty good strat, especially since we both, between us, it looked like we full cleared Moon.
Yeah. Of course, that Valvalis, though. Oof, that was rough for both of you.
Oh, yeah. At least I had edge.
Indeed. How did you feel about the early game, though?
Oh gosh, I mean, after running around, checking every character, going to the moon, and finding edge, I thought, this is actually not so bad. Just pretty straightforward, go around clearing everything. Got that magma key, went underground. I did the half tower play because I thought, what are the odds that something required will be at the top of tower? And then it turned out that that's the hook, which led to was it the legend or the adamant after you got the rat tail?
Yeah, one of them was there. The other one was at the Murasame altar.
The one place on the moon I skipped.
Yep.
But you did find that Luca key behind the freest of the free. Everyone's favorite water hag.
I guess it's a little anticlimactic to have the last non-Z boss you fight be Water Hag, but honestly, I was just happy to see an easy fight after that Volvalis.
Yeah, and I know that on our side, we were so incredibly hype when we saw that it was Water Hag, and then behind Water K was exactly the Luca key.
No one was more hype about it than I was. Very excited.
Anyway, how are you feeling about things going forward?
Oh, like I said on my race on Wednesday, it just sort of, I never thought I'd make it this far, so I'm just happy to get to compete, and if I lose all of my matches in the round of 16, it's still way further than I thought I'd get. I'm very happy with myself.
You should be.
Yeah, it is always incredible to watch all of the runners at this stage. So much skill on display constantly. And I look forward to seeing how far you can actually take it.
And I look forward to eventually having less practice and more time to watch everybody else's races.
Right, though?
Don't hurry it too much.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the Restream team. Thanks to Tracking, Leggy, Imperial Dragon. I don't know who's... thanks, Alizel. And who's on Tracking tonight?
Smapedy, I believe it was.
Thank you, Smapedy. I really appreciate it. We couldn't do any of this without all of you.
Thank you. Alright, and with that said, it looks like we're going to be doing a raid.
Yep. To my knowledge, it looks like we're heading over to go raid Asuka, who, well, we all know Asuka from the wonderful, wonderful scenes she rolls for everyone.
Also remember, do not spoil the race. Keep
Yeah.
the spoilers to yourselves.
And hopefully we'll see you all again later on today for the other races.